America's Journey Through Time, a comprehensive history of the United States. The history of the United States is a fascinating tale of discovery, struggle, innovation, and transformation. From its earliest indigenous civilizations to its rise as a global superpower, America's journey reflects the resilience and adaptability of its people. This comprehensive overview explores key eras that shaped the nation's identity, covering its origins, revolutions, challenges, and triumphs. Before Columbus, the first Americans. Long before European explorers arrived, North America was home to millions of indigenous peoples who developed complex societies, trade networks, and cultures. Tribes such as the Iroquois, Cherokee, Sioux, Apache, and Navajo thrived in diverse environments, from the Great Plains to the eastern woodlands. The Mississippian culture built large cities like Cahokia, and advanced agricultural techniques supported large populations. These civilizations had distinct languages, religions, and governance systems, proving that America's story began thousands of years before the United States itself existed. 2. European exploration and colonization, 1492 to 1775. The arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1492 marked the beginning of European exploration. While Spain dominated early expeditions in the Caribbean and Southwest, France explored Canada and the Mississippi River Valley, and the English focused on the Atlantic coast. In 1607, the first permanent English settlement was established in Jamestown, Virginia. 13 colonies eventually formed, shaped by varying economies: New England's shipping and fishing, the Middle Colonies farming and trade, and the Southern Colonies plantation agriculture. However, colonization also brought devastating consequences for indigenous peoples through disease, displacement, and conflict. 3. The Road to Independence, 1775 to 1783. Tensions between Britain and its colonies grew over taxation and governance. The Stamp Act, 1765, the Boston Massacre, 1770, and the Boston Tea Party, 1773, inflamed colonial resistance. In 1775, the Revolutionary War began, pitting colonial militias against the might of the British Empire. The Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson in 1776, formally proclaimed America's right to self-governance. With aid from France and other allies, the United States secured victory in 1783, cemented by the Treaty of Paris. 4. Building a new nation, 1783 to 1860. The young nation faced the challenge of forming a stable government. The U.S. Constitution, 1787, created a federal system with checks and balances, and George Washington became the first president. The early 19th century saw expansion through the Louisiana Purchase, 1803, and the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the U.S. was destined to expand across the continent. However, expansion brought conflict with Native Americans and heightened tensions over slavery. The Industrial Revolution transformed the economy, while reform movements emerged, fighting for women's rights, temperance, and the abolition of slavery. V. Civil War and Reconstruction, 1861 to 1877. Slavery divided the nation, and in 1861, 11 Southern states seceded to form the Confederacy. The Civil War was the bloodiest conflict in American history, claiming over 600,000 lives. President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, declared enslaved people in Confederate states free, and the Union's victory in 1865 preserved the nation. The Reconstruction era sought to integrate formerly enslaved people into society and rebuild the South. Amendments to the Constitution, 13th, abolishing slavery, 14th, citizenship rights, and 15th, voting rights, were landmark changes, though racial segregation and discrimination persisted. 6. Industrialization and Immigration, 1877 to 1914. Post-Civil War America experienced rapid industrial growth. Cities expanded, railroads connected coasts, and industries like steel, oil, and manufacturing flourished. Figures like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller became symbols of both opportunity and inequality. Millions of immigrants arrived from Europe and Asia, fueling labor for factories and shaping America's cultural diversity. However, this era also saw poor working conditions, child labor, and economic inequality, sparking labor unions and progressive reforms. 7. World Wars and Global Power, 1914 to 1945. Although the U.S. initially stayed neutral in World War I, it entered in 1917, helping the Allies to victory. The interwar period was marked by the Roaring Twenties, a time of cultural change, jazz, and economic growth, followed by the Great Depression, 1929, which brought widespread hardship. In World War II, the U.S. again began as neutral but joined in 1941 after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The war effort boosted the economy, and American forces played a crucial role in defeating Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. By 1945, the United States emerged as a global superpower. 8. The Cold War era, 1945 to 1991. After World War II, tensions with the Soviet Union led to the Cold War, defined by political rivalry, nuclear arms races, and proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam. Domestically, the civil rights movement fought for racial equality, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X. Technological achievements included the moon landing in 1969, while social movements reshaped laws on gender, race, and culture. The Cold War ended with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. 9. The modern United States, 1991 to present. The 1990s brought economic growth, the rise of the internet, and new global challenges. The September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks deeply impacted national security policies, leading to wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. In the 21st century, America has faced debates over immigration, healthcare, climate change, and social justice. Technological innovation, spanning smartphones, AI, and renewable energy, has reshaped daily life. The U.S. remains a major economic, cultural, and military power, though it continues to grapple with political polarization and global competition. Conclusion: the continuing journey. America's history is not a straight path of triumphs. It is a blend of victories, struggles, contradictions, and transformations. From indigenous civilizations to space exploration, from slavery to civil rights, and from isolation to global leadership, the United States' journey is a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. The nation's future will be shaped by how it confronts challenges, adapts to change, and lives up to its founding ideals of liberty and equality. America's story is still being written, and every generation adds its own chapter.